That's a great idea. I should do that. Or just go on a really big rant on my podcast. Which I'm sure the heads of the RV industry are listening to right now.
Are you an RV person? Or are you just RV life curious, wondering how people live in a tiny space with their family 24/7? Either way, this is a podcast for you. My name is Kate White, and I travel full-time with my family and 2 kids, and the dog, in an RV. Every week, I sit down either with a fellow RV woman to discuss why she chose RV life and how she has changed on the road, or with a special guest who speaks on a topic relevant to travel life. Pull a chair up to the fire and let's chat.
Yeah, so do you do like part-time van life or like what's going on with the studio behind you?
This is awesome. Okay, so my van life story is a lot to do with like Goldilocks. Remember the Goldilocks story? So my van is my 3rd RV. So I was the only one in my family who wanted to travel. I have 4 children, and I got my RV initially to think, let's go hit the road and take these trips. And we had a house and do things on the weekends and on the holidays. Nobody wanted to go with me. My children were, that teenager moment. And I thought this will work. So I bought one that was a little small with the idea, maybe 1 or 2. And I thought, nope, I'm going to get a bigger one so we can all go. It'll be great. And I realized that wasn't happening. So finally, I'm like, it's all about me. I'm the only one who wants to go. That's how I got to being a camper van.
Amazing.
gal.
Okay. So what's your situation now?
The situation now, which is great, is now my youngest is now a freshman in college.
Nice.
And a year ago, 2 years ago, I faked my death.
Yes.
Meaning, I took the opportunity of looking at everything that we had and downsizing because my father had passed away. And I realized all of the hassle to get all this stuff done when someone passes away. It took like a year and a half of our life to go through this stuff. It was insane. And I thought, I'm not doing that to the kids. So we found that all 4 of my children, it doesn't happen this way, landed in the same town for real jobs and for college. And so we decided to sell the big house, sell all the stuff, have me buy a small little house and help them buy their first small houses. And I would get my studio and have a home base. So when I'm home, when I'm not traveling, I get to hug on them and see them and have dinner.
Gosh,
which is nice.
You just gave me like a new life goal.
It's like a win-win.
Like that sounds perfect.
I initially thought I was going to have a big piece of land and have little houses for them to come visit and things like that. And the reality is like, no. Mama can't handle all that. I want to do simple, easy, small house, small bills so I can do big travel.
This is fascinating that we're on this topic already because in my mind, I'm always oscillating between the desire to be like a homesteader and like just buy the land in the country and have the little hobby farm. I don't want a big farm. I just want like, the chickens and the cow and the goats and like whatever. Yeah. Not a rooster.
10 acres.
I'm
15, okay.
Not a fan of roosters. It's a story for another day. But then there's part of me that's like, yeah, but then if you have a cow and you want to travel, then you got to find somebody to come like do all this maintenance and like take care of all the beings. Yep. Do I want to be tied down? I don't know. It sounds amazing to be a homesteader, but it's also amazing to travel.
I did that. I had 250 acres.
Whoa.
I'm living the dream life. I'm going to tell you how this whole thing, I thought I moved kids from the city to the Green Acres moment. I had 250 acres. And I had chickens and goats and horses. I'm growing my vegetables. I'm doing all these great things and realized 1, the significant amount of work it was. That's number 1. 2, I don't really have that family. That family is truly a lot of work. You will never have your weekends ever again. Everything will be tied to the land. And my family, I say I raise geeks. I raise kids who are in sci-fi and we're in cybersecurity and defense and databases and things like that. They weren't farmers. They were never meant to be farmers. So once again, mama's dream, not their dream.
Okay. Interesting. Good to know. Man, usually I don't get to this juicy information like life wisdom being passed down until the end. So I'm just like, we're just reversing this interview today. Just give me all your wisdom up front. And then at the end, we'll talk about like surface level, lighthearted stuff. By the way, Charlie Grace, welcome to the RV Queens podcast. I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. This is fun. I've been waiting. I've been so excited to be on this.
So we met in person in January of this year. at the Tampa
Yes.
RV show or somewhere in there, the content creator meetup or something.
No,
Yeah.
Tampa.
You told me something I did not know about yourself, which is you are a comedy writer. And I have to admit, even in the research that I do for preparing for a podcast interview, I could not find this information about you online. So you have done a fantastic job of curating exactly what you want people to see and know about Charlie Grace, the van life woman online. But since I have you here as a captive audience, I have to ask, how did you get into being a comedy writer? How does one set their career in that direction?
It's an interesting story because I always say some of the most talented people. I used to live in the Nashville area, and like everyone can write songs, everyone can play music, everyone sounds amazing, like Carrie Underwood, but it's all in who you know. So I just happen to be in the right circles at the right time, and I live a pretty interesting, dynamic life. And I put myself in positions to meet other interesting, dynamic people. And I would always keep notes. And I was really good at writing stories and things like that. And I talked to other people who were screenwriting, working on TVs and movies. I had some work out in LA for some other work things. And I just sort of kept in touch because I really believe that there's more good in the world than there is bad. And I'm one of those people that focus on that. And so as years progress, you just keep in touch. And oh, by the way, we have something coming up. You're hilarious. We need someone who can understand physical comedy or do this. And I'd get a phone call. So I've worked on TVs and movies for years, and it's been a lot of fun, and some kid things and some adult things. And I try to keep a very low profile for a reason, because there are certain people who know me for writing certain things, and it's great. And I get to be like a hired gun.
You still do that under the radar?
32 years.
Whoa, dude. How often do you have to go be in person, or are you just kind of like incognito writing from your studio with your van life?
Right. Not as much anymore. In the beginning, there's lots of great stories of wine and tables and desserts and hanging out with those kind of people. That was a lot. And that was before kids too. So, families change everything. So, yeah. So that sort of put a difference on my travel schedules.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, you're a comedy writer. You are kind of bouncing between Nashville and LA. Am I getting this right?
New York, Chicago, LA.
The major American cities. Very Nashville. Nice, very nice. You have kids. You settle in the Nashville area?
I do.
Or where did the shift happen?
We started in Chicago with the kids. The kids started in Chicago, and then I gradually brought them back down south because I'm a Southern redhead. Mm-hmm. So, it's you have kids, you want to have family around and things like that. So brought them back, and they all graduated from a little town called Franklin, Tennessee, outside of Nashville.
I know that place.
And it's been fantastic, and they're all great. They're all doing fantastic. Two officially are graduated, and 2 are in college right now. So. They just think mom's funny. Oh, mom. Oh,
yeah, I roll. Oh my gosh. I have a 6-year-old and he's already doing that to me. And I'm like, what? How did this happen? I'm like hilarious.
It goes fast. And I'll tell you what, I love my children. I say this all the time. If I didn't know my kids, I'd still want to be friends with them because they're really cool people.
That's a statement to who you are, because you raised them that way, how this goes. It's not like magic. They just magically turn into amazing people. Props to you. Okay, now I'm trying to take us through the journey of your life so far. So you raise the kiddos down south, and you try to be an RV family. No one wants to do it except you. Then do you start the van life thing when your kids start going off to college, or how did you start incorporating this into your yearly living?
The van life thing came to be because I sort of was looking for my tribe. Mm-hmm. Really. You start looking, I do a lot of solitary work now. So when you work at home or work on the road, you're by yourself. And I was getting invited to a lot of RV meetups, a lot of camping meetups. And I went to one and I met this lady and she had a van. I started talking to her and I'm like, this is awesome. This is exactly what I need, because I was driving a 30-foot Class C, very loud, by myself, having fun. And I was like, no, I don't like the way it sounds, which sounds weird. That sounds like an awkward thing. The way it felt and the way it sounded, it just made driving just more intense. And when I got in hers and tried hers out, I'm like, sold, done. And I think within the next 6 months, sold my RV, picked up a Class B camper van, and never looked back. And it's been a little over 3, going on 4 years now.
You did some renovations yourself. How did you know what you were doing? Like, are you just a YouTube person, or how did you do that?
I Charlie-fied it, I like to say, because I didn't have a choice. I'm not extremely handy. I'm more funny than I am handy. I'm not known for my cordless drill skill set. So I bought a pre-made, and I figured this is what I wanted, ish. And then I thought, and I started traveling in it, realizing I need to make a few alterations because it really wasn't matching my lifestyle and where I wanted, like more boondocking and it's all about my dog because I travel with the dog. Rosie is my companion, and she's taking a nap. My coworker's taking a nap down here somewhere.
The best coworkers. Okay. Yeah. So on the note of like finding community, most people I talk to don't really find their community in the nomad van life travel verse RV people for like a while. Did you kind of reverse how that went? Like, did you find like, these are my people, I'm going to start traveling with them? Or how has community fit into this equation for you?
It's interesting, like I said, because I was already looking for camping communities per se, but van life is very different. It is a very different kind of situation. The Class B people travel differently than a typical A or travel trailer or fifth wheel. And I've really taken a lot of hard looks and lessons learned because the more that I talk to people, the more I realize that's what they were looking for. So I've taken an extensive amount of time in the past 2 years and gone to quite a few van-specific meetups from different companies, different people that are hosting things, and I list them on my website because I think it's important to try to get connected in. And I was just fortunate enough, like I said, I had one interaction with one person, and that person trickled into a whole nother community.
Yeah. And now you're like really into van life community. Like you have a ton of meetups posted on your website, and you teach people how to get into van life now. What is it about this lifestyle that lights you up so much?
Everyone's going to say it's the freedom. I'm going to say it's the flexibility. And there's a huge difference. The flexibility is there. I think the ability to pick up and move, be very, agile, whatever you want to call it, and go. I have the opportunity of taking my 21-year-old tomorrow, actually. We're leaving on a 5-day trip. We're going to North Carolina. We're going to stay one place one day. We don't know where we're going to be for the next 3 or 4 days. Don't really care. We don't have to be plugged in. We'll look at certain apps and find a safe place to spend the night and do whatever it takes. But that flexibility is huge. And I just love the ability of sort of going. We allow it to shift with our whims. And if we want to go someplace out to eat and have a fantastic meal, and we might end up spending the night in the parking lot, the restaurant. You never know.
Fantastic meal and some imbibing, which would want you to...
There might be some vino or something involved in that, which makes it sort of safer to stay in the parking lot.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I love it. What are the most common questions that you get from people that are kind of van life curious and wanting to get into this lifestyle?
So van curious people, I love them. And they're my favorite in the whole wide world because I was right there and I can completely relate. The first question is always about safety. They go, oh, how do you do this by yourself? Yeah. Are you safe? Aren't you worried about your safety? And so I have a whole checklist that I go through and I talk to them about that because just like in your normal home, what are some things that you do? And there is a lot of mental thinking going into, your day-to-day life in this kind of lifestyle that's a little different from others that it can wear and tear on you. It really can.
So what are the, besides safety, like what else? What's the golden nugget wisdom that you're telling van curious people?
I thought about places. I think, when people get an RV, they're going, I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon. When I get that van, I'm going to go to, Oregon coast. I'm going to go there. They didn't think about their daily life. Are you a person who has to work part-time and then go out and look during the day? Or are you a person that might have someone travel with you, like a parent or a child or grandchild? They don't really think about their daily life before they go and buy this beautiful vehicle of a bed that they got to make every day. Maybe you don't want to make a bed every day. Maybe you just want to jump in and call it a day and that's done. Or maybe you're a person who is like, you know what? I really didn't need that bike rack. I haven't ridden a bike in 25 years. Never going to happen. So do you need to spend the money on that? Probably not.
Okay, speaking of your daily life, I have questions about how you balance everything you've got going on. So first of all, you've got 4 kids. We know this. Then you travel is a big part of your life. You still work as a writer. You still create content for your own brand. How do you balance all of this? Are you an organized, schedule-y type person behind the scenes, or are you I just got to get whatever's hot, got to get it done quick? How do you make this work?
I'm a little organized. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of time boxing. I time box my day. I really do. I get up and I have things. I have a calendar for a year and I have a calendar for 4 years. Don't tell anybody. My 4. Yeah, I know. Just hold on now before you don't get judgy on me. Now here's how this works. So the 4-year calendar is really meant, and I'll tell you why. I wanted to go to Maine so badly in 2020. I had my heart set on this. I thought this was going to happen. I had this whole trip planned, and it didn't happen because we had some family issues that changed on top of a world pandemic. But that's beside the point. I had this ready. So this year, that's beside the point. But this year, I'm going to Maine. So I look at my years and my months and say, okay, next spring, I'd like to try to get here if I can. So that's sort of why I have this 4-year calendar saying, okay, I'm finally going to get to Maine this year. Fantastic. What do I want to do next spring? What do I want to do next fall? And it sort of helps me gear my travel plans a little bit, even though they're sort of real fluid and they're large things. I may not be able to get out to Oregon till not this August, but the following August. But if I put it on there, then I can start to go towards that. And if I have work in the midst, then I can also rearrange it around my work.
So why 4 years instead of 2?
I'm going to blame it on Amazon. That's as big as I can.
That's amazing. Are you talking you have a 4-year physical calendar, one of these big desktop numbers that you flip through? Wow,
4 years, baby. 24 to 20.
You are next level.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
That.
I'm a planner, but I'm also a person. I can fly by the seat of my pants. I can change. I'm not saying that. It just helps me keep focused because I think if you don't know where you're going, then you're just treading water. If you don't have a goal or a purpose to get there, then how do you know when you're there?
My husband and I are planning out a trip for June of 2025. And it's the most planning ahead that we've ever done. And we've been talking about this trip. It's to a very, vacation-y destination. I'm not going to say where it is on here, but sudden realization the other night that we have a niece and nephew that have said that they had a engagement, and we're going to get married in June of 2025. And we're like, oh my God, what? We've been doing all this planning and we totally forgot to ask. Anyways, I feel we really try our best to plan ahead, but then there's these things that pop up that just.
But that's what life is like. I mean, I always explain this to my friends who are having babies. It's like planning for a trip to Paris. I think this is a great example. You're planning for a trip to Paris. You're reading the books. You're looking at the pictures. You know where you want to go. You're all excited. You get on the plane and you land in Holland.
Yeah.
It's totally different. Cute shoes, nice windmills, love the tulips, but it's not Paris. So learning how to go with those changes and still find the positives in what it is really what it's all about.
At the end of the day, what we're all wanting is that feeling of in the present moment, I'm happy and fulfilled. You know what I mean? So whatever else is going on out here with the plans and the excitement to go somewhere, if that's missing in the present moment, then everywhere you go is going to be a little bit lacking. Okay. So you have traveled a lot, and I do want to ask you about some location questions about the US and your travel experience. I'm going to do it in a rapid fire format, if that's okay with you. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Bring it. I got it.
You told me that you brushed your teeth, so I know you are fully ready.
I did.
What is your favorite state in the US?
Believe it or not, it's probably going to be Tennessee.
Good one.
Tennessee. I love everything about it. I love the climate. I love the mountains. I love the rivers. I love the lakes. I love the people. I love the food.
I'm right there with you. I love that state too. Okay, what's your least favorite state?
Oklahoma. See how that came off real fast?
What is the most touristy, cringy tourist trap that you've ever been to?
I'm not going to call it a tourist trap because I love these. Okay. So let me just get on record right now. I think everyone should go there from now on. I'm a big fan of small towns, huge fan of small towns. Just got back from a strawberry festival. We'll talk about that later. If you have not been to Casey, Illinois, Casey, write it down, people. I want you to go to not Casey, but Casey, Illinois. They have the world's largest rocking chair across the street from the world's largest wind chime, down the street from the world's largest mailbox, across the street from the world's largest truck key, around the corner from the world's largest crochet needles, and down the way from the world's largest golf tee. It's pretty awesome. It is a very small town, and you can walk.
Oh my gosh, it's
She's like, what? Trust me. As weird as it sounds, it's so much fun, and your family will love it. You will love it. You'll support a very small town. It's a very tiny town, and someone retired and came up with this idea. So I think it's like 5 or 10 miles off the interstate. Completely
worth it. Oh my gosh. There's so many directions you could take. If you live in that town and be like, okay, now I'm going to be the baker that creates pastries that are in the shape of t-shirts. You get, what? This is brilliant. Yes, of course I want to visit that small town.
I could see like golf tee, but the crochet needles got me. I was like, really? I'm like, huh. Like the things I wouldn't think about. Or truck key. Who would build a big truck key? They did.
I mean, it is the Midwest, so I can see where they're coming from, as a Midwestern person.
And you could take a slight detour and go to Metropolis, Illinois, and go see the Superman, Metropolis. You could go there too. It's not that far away, just saying. So if you're going to you could hit both.
Illinois got some good stuff. Okay, I love it. For someone who is just starting out traveling in the U.S., what is a place that you tell them they must see? And you can't reuse KZ, Illinois.
I believe the Great Lakes is one of our best places in the United States. I believe that for so many reasons. There are still some really beautiful undeveloped land, beautiful beaches. If you're a beach person and they don't have things that sting you like they do at the ocean, no sea jellies, no sharks, things like that. I just think it's stunning. It really is stunning. So if you're able to get up around the Great Lakes, whether it's Upper Peninsula, Michigan, whether it's Lake Erie, even around Lake Ontario, I'm going to finish my Great Lakes tour this year for the first time. I'm going to go all the way around Lake Ontario, and then I will have successfully gone around every single Great Lake.
Speaking of things that sting you, I'm interrupting my own rapid fire set of questions, but I have to, because yesterday we were at the beach. I told you that we're in Gulf Shores, Alabama right now, so we're at the beach a lot. There was this thing that looked like a balloon animal, like literally looked like this kind of hot dog shape, except balloon looking, dark blue, with these long black things sticking off of this. You know where I'm going with this? Have you ever heard of this animal?
It's
a jellyfish, like the weirdest.
It's a Portuguese man of war.
And I was like,
it's called a Portuguese man of war. There's huge sea jelly. And by the way, don't mean to correct my host.
That's okay.
But you can't say jellyfish because it doesn't have a vertebra. It doesn't have a backbone. So you got to teach your kids. It's now a sea jelly. Okay. So these are sea jellies, people. Let's call it right.
God, I've never heard that. And I'm a homeschool mom. I feel like I should know these things. Okay. We saw massive sea jelly. Woo! That was hilarious. Okay, yes. I don't mean to correct my host. We saw super crazy looking sea jelly yesterday. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And also the fact that it was alive, but it's just washing up on shore as if it's like I mean, it was super interesting.
It's pretty intense, and they sting a lot, so be careful.
Which we learned. We did a lot of studying after we saw this thing at the beach. Fascinating. But you're right. Back to your point. If you're in the Great Lakes, you don't have to deal with any of that. You don't have to deal with salt water or sharks or, big waves, whatever. Good stuff. All right. Last question in my rapid fire set of questions. What is one place that you really connected with that you just want to go back to again and again and again?
Actually, I'm going there this weekend. I'm going to Asheville, North Carolina.
We love Asheville.
Asheville, North Carolina.
Best.
I do. I love Asheville. Lots of different reasons. I mean, it's not just the food, it's it's a lot of things about Asheville, the art scene. I come from a very artsy family, musicians, artists and whatnot. And I really enjoy, I call it the creative and the cerebral and the outdoorsy and the palate and the cuisine and the beer. But it's fantastic.
When I visit Asheville, it feels like the hills and mountains are kind of just like cozy quilts. Like it's just like feels like you're so secure and like I just got a good feeling.
I called it a mountain hug.
Yes,
I call it a mountain hug.
that is exactly
you're
what
just
it
being
feels
hugged by
like.
mountains.
Yes, this is why you're a writer. Superfluously rambling, and you're like, zink. Here's what it is. Yes, you are right. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
I need to ask you something about the RV industry because you've kind of like, been around it for a while here. You seem pretty well connected with, events going on and RV shows and knowing people. What has changed from the time that you got into this lifestyle to now, kind of in the RV industry?
I don't think the industry has changed as much as the consumer has changed. That's the better statement. I think that the industry has always been a recreation industry, and they have always created vehicles for people to use on a part-time basis. And I think that's a really huge statement to make because I know we have full-timers like yourself who use these from a full-time basis. So they've always done that. I think they've had to look for how can we address the full-time population. That's something that they've had to work towards. And as far as quality and craftsmanship, I think that's something that I can see that has changed since I've been in it. Of course, I've had the ability to go to the RV museum in Elkhart, Illinois, and I've done some plant tours and I've talked to people and I've seen some things. And there's always some ingenuity of some new design or some new, I wouldn't say design, but some new interior maybe. We've changed from the darks to the lights. It's the pendulum swing. We're probably going back to the darks pretty soon again. I was a big fan of the lights because it makes it look bigger, but we might be seeing some dark cherry woods again. Watch out. What I really want to see in the RV industry, and I belong to the RV Women's Association, is I really want to see more women designers and more women in the RV industry. Because I truly believe that women have very specific ideas, how lifestyle, we talk about how do we live and what do we need. So it's not just more cup holders in motor coaches.
We could talk for a whole podcast episode about this one topic of the thoughtfulness of design in an RV. Huge room for growth. I'm just going to give a tiny example, and I won't say what manufacturer of an RV that we live in. But there's this really hilarious oversight on our rig. We have a back door. You can actually see it if you're watching on YouTube. This is a back door in our RV. You go down the steps, and this is where you can empty your tanks. So when we bought it, there's like a little door that you lift up to access the gray and black tank hole things, whatever they're called. And that door is halfway covered by the steps that come down. So there is no way to open the door whenever your steps are down, which is the whole reason of having the back door. Oh my God. My career.
It makes you wonder the meeting they had and the walkthrough, the final walkthrough. We're going to go through it, Stan. Okay, Stan, show me how this works. And you just sit there and you go, maybe no one's going to notice.
Yes. And like two things come to mind. First of all, my career was as a user experience designer. I mean, I was like, 2D working on screens with tech teams and like having the user's experience in mind. That was like my job. So I just keep thinking to myself, is there no one who does that in like the RV creation? Like there's no one going through exactly like you said, being like, let's talk about how people actually use these things when they have the stuff that comes down so they can access the tanks. Can they access the tanks? Oh my gosh. Also, like there are some men that are very attuned to the flow of how people use a space, but women, to your point, kind of tend to be more aware of how all ages of humans use a space. And I agree. I think that could really help.
There's some things. I mean, it's time. It's time. We've gotten there. Women need to support other women. We need to just make it known. And it's no more than just talking to our salespeople. It's calling customer support and letting them know too.
That's a great idea. I should do that. Or just go on a really big rant on my podcast. Which I'm sure the heads of the RV industry are listening to right now.
It's always on speed dial. No, I'm a big believer in, I don't like writing complaining letters. I'm not one of those kind of people. But I do know if you have a design, if you have a solution, a way to fix something, not a complaining, but here's an idea. There's nothing wrong with writing that letter and sending it to the industry or wherever, Winnebago, Thor, whoever it might be, send it because they're looking for things. They're wanting to know what people think about it. So it's not going to hurt anything.
Good wisdom. Can I just adopt you as like an aunt? Because I just feel like you've got a lot of wisdom that I just need to.
Can I be the fant? Can I be the fun aunt to the kids? Because I love that.
My kids would love you. They have 2 cousins with red hair, just like yours. There's always more room for a redhead in the family. I mean, come on. Everybody loves redhead.
Well, be careful. Everything they tell you about redheads is true. So,
which direction would I like to take?
That's the easiest way I tell people. I know it's a little scary. Every day of my life since I was a kid and I hated it. 3 people comment about my hair a day. You actually were the 3rd today, so congratulations. And then if I'm out in public though, one person touches it.
Yeah, that's.
One person touches my hair.
When did you come to a point of acceptance? Like, did you ever try to dye your hair?
I did. When I worked for a media company in Chicago, I actually had blonde hair for a while and I had brown hair because I got to go overseas. It's a whole other story, but helping the troops and doing some stuff. But because you can't be a redhead, you sort of are a walking target.
Did you have to do like the spy movies where you're in the hotel bathroom and like there's just like hair dye in the sink and you have to like color your eyebrows and change your glasses? Not that extreme. Okay.
That would have been so much more cool. Instead, I think I went to Elizabeth Arden, but yes.
Okay, I have one more question for you, but I'm going to have you tell listeners where they can connect with you online. And also, like, I haven't even had you mention like your books and offerings that you write. So please tell the audience how they can connect with you online and, get into the Charlie Grace ecosystem.
Okay. So if you like high energy, exciting, funny, travel with a twist of comedy, you can always find me at Charlie Grace Adventures. Charlie Grace Adventures on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Oh gosh, the face plant, or as I call Facebook, the face plant. You can also look at my website at charliegraceadventures.com. However, you're going to be the first. You're going to get the scoop. Are you ready for this? Because this is exciting. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for about a year to take all of my lessons learned and all of the amazing people that I've met in the past, 3, almost 4 years of doing van life, and doing a themed virtual event. So I'm putting up in June VanLife.travel. And in November, we're having a VanLife.travel Virtual Summit for female van lifers. It's pretty cool. And it's free. So it's going to be free and fun. And it's just all the things that I wish I would have known. And all these other van lifers, we sat down, we did a huge, like a market research thing and said, what is it that you wish you would have known? And then found experts on those topics and said, okay, let's make it happen. Oh my gosh.
Brilliant. That's going to be so fun. You're going to make me want to become a van lifer.
I think everyone deserves like a little she shed on wheels. Yeah,
you know Jen Bethune, don't you? I mean, that's her approach.
I love Jen.
She's the best.
So I have what I call a van fam. So we're like the ugly stepchild of all the schooly people because they take up one space where we can put 3 vans in it.
Nice.
So we had a lot of vans attend Schoolie Swarm this year, which was cool.
Super fun. I love it. Okay, Charlie, final question for you. When you think back to yourself before you met your friend that was a van lifer and before you started getting into this space and fast forward several years to yourself, Charlie Grace now, what has changed?
I'm still the curious person I was. I am. I'm still the curious, high energy, funny person out there. I'm just a little more wise to how to travel. I guess the how has changed. So I've learned some things, learned some skills, got some skills now on the travel game. And I've also learned that I'm more about people than places. I will travel 6 hours to go see a friend as opposed to 6 hours just to go see a place. So I tend to travel to see people, and that's important to me.
And you're not alone. I know a lot of RVers like that. It's good stuff. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today and for inspiring us all and making me laugh more than I have today to this point.
Hey, wait, I got a special guest. Hold on. Before I do this, hold that thought. She's down.
She's
like,
awake.
Oh my gosh. Butt shot. This is Rosie Bell Dog.
Hello, Rosie Bell.
This is my, she's pretty awesome. She's a rescue dog, and she's actually the South's most famous rescue dog. So she's got about 165,000 followers on Instagram. She gets around.
Are you serious?
I'm just the girl with the dog.
Does she have her own Instagram?
Yeah. So we've been part of our travel escapades was to go places to raise funds for other rescue shelters in the South when we initially started our RV journey. Just to help out, to pay it forward.
Oh, so cool. Thank you for sharing. I had no idea you were up to that. I'm glad you mentioned it.
I have skills. I got hobbies.
Yeah, you do. You got a lot going on over there. All right. So for the people keeping record at home, we need to go follow you, Charlie Grace Adventures. We need to look at VanLife, what was it? .travel, because we've got a whole Van Life Summit coming up. Mm-hmm. And we need to go follow Rosie Bell Dog. Is that her handle?
Yeah, Rosie Bell
Dog.
That's her handle.
I love it. And then you will officially be in the Charlie Grace fan club, everyone. All righty, Charlie. Thank you again for being on the show. And hopefully I will see you on the road.
Hey, Kate, do me a favor. Just save me a chair on the beach. We'll be there anytime. Just saying. But thanks for having us. This has been fun. I mean, she, like I said, my coworker down here's doing great, but big fans, super happy. And once again, just want to say that I'm so excited to see other women just living out their dreams.
Oh, that's what it's all about. Cool. Thank you so much, Charlie. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode and for being my favorite part of RV life. If you could please like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, that would be awesome. And listen, if you want to have conversations like I had on this episode with your fellow RV women, head to rvqueenspodcast.com/community and choose your RV Queen Circle today. All right, guys, I'll see you next week, or hopefully I will see you on the road. I'm like hilarious.